Hey everybody. So last time we got started on our camera manager and we also created our camera interface. I was watching the video and I noticed that I misnamed this thing. So let's go ahead and fix that now and see if it breaks anything. I do not think it'll break anything because we haven't used it yet. But so this would be a very easy time to fix it. And voila, it's fixed. Problem over. Okay, so I did notice I was watching a video on cameras, and these numbers are for a camera, a perspective camera, not a orthographic camera. So in the future, before we move out of cameras, I'll circle back around and figure that out how to deal with that. Anyways, so for now, we're just going to move on with a perspective camera. Also, when I was playing around practicing this, I noticed that it's easy to it's very kind of time consuming to come in here and add a new mesh every time. So I'm going to make it so that to save time to where in the camera manager it just automatically creates a mesh for temporary purposes. So in order to do that, we need to inject the ThreeJS service. So I'm going to call that ThreeJS service, and it is of type ThreeJS service, and it imported it for me. Thank you so much. And then inject. Last time it did not import that for me directly, and it didn't again. ThreeJS service, and so we can import it ourselves. Inject. All right. And so now let's go ahead and create a constructor. This is very temporary code. Um, just so we don't have to just continually make sure that we haven't broken anything. And so it's going to be ThreeJS service dot add mesh that, and then mesh has an ID, and I'll set it to -1 to start, and then I will set an X position of 0 and a Y position of 0. But earlier I was playing around practicing for this, and I had broke everything and didn't even realize it for a while because I just had gotten to where I wasn't testing this. Okay, so that's good. So now we're just automatically, as we make changes, we'll have one of these. We've got to make sure we delete this code, this constructor, or this code in this constructor as soon as we get a chance. I mean, as soon as it makes sense. Um, and in most places, you will have a linter. So my suggestion is if you do code like this, to make sure that it breaks the linter so that you won't accidentally, uh, even if you commit it, you won't actually push it because it'll fail the linter. Anyways, so I think the next step would be to, in the service, uh, start using our interface for our ThreeJS service. And right now, much like we had for meshes and mesh items, we have like the camera is very heavy, so we'll have a camera item. And I think this one is then going to end up, let's see, this is camera interface. This one's going to end up once we do the orthographic, um, will actually end up varying wildly from the 3GS type. So anyways, let's go this, and then we are going to set the defaults. Um, and I cannot remember right off the top of my head. Let's see, open to the side. Yeah, that's nice. Okay, so we have an FOV. And in our perspective camera up here, we don't set it to anything. How about in setup camera? Okay, set it up to 70. So let's just go ahead and go with that. 70, and then we have an aspect, and I'm going to default that to 1, but we need to set that a little later. Um, because it really needs to be based on the size of the space that it's showing up near. I believe is 0.1, but let me look. When we set up the camera, yeah, and then far. Let's see, Control Z. Far is. I think the default is actually 2000. I'm gonna do that. I think the 10 has really gotten us in trouble. X, I would have done more things, more cubes if it had been farther. X position is 0. No, yeah, 0. Y position is 0. And then Z position is 5. That's how we have it. That's our current defaults. And we haven't broken anything yet. Okay, so I'm going to close this. It's kind of tricky because the record thing is in the way. And let's see, I don't know what to do. I'm just going to go in here, close others. Does that close it? No, that did not close that one. There's a little X right there. I can't quite get to it. What a pain. Let's see if I can move this whole thing. You are being a pain. Close all. There we go. So anyways, all right, so now in our setup camera, instead of using this, all right, so when we set our dimensions, we actually need to set our aspect as well. So I'm going to say this dot camera item dot aspect is equal to this dot width divided by this dot height. And then I'm going to use our, okay, so we're still good. This dot camera item dot FOV. Let's see if that works. Okay, that's good. And then this dot camera item dot aspect. Okay, that looks good. This dot camera item dot near. This dot camera item dot far. And then this dot camera item dot position or dot Z position. And I guess we should do the same thing for X and Y. And we're good. All right, so that's good. Okay, so our setup is using the right stuff. I'm happy with that. And we're almost out of time. I know it probably seems like things are going very, very slow, and they kind of are because we're back into a foundational phase. I know this doesn't quite match up with the way Agile sees things. They kind of see things as like a linear improvement over time. But, you know, in my personal experience, it's more like a sawtooth where you'll see the foundation for one part of the code get set up, and then a spike in velocity, and then then maybe it'll flatline or even drop for a little bit as another foundation is being created, and then another spike. And with each one, you know, the spikes get steeper and faster and longer. until the general application as a whole is built out, and then you might see linear. But you really shouldn't. But because you'll probably never, my alarm is going off. You'll never actually, um, if you have a code base that can grow, you should always be coming with new ideas and new things, and so the foundation should be constantly needing to be reworked as you get bigger and bigger and bigger. Um, so you should see sort of some, you know, like fast velocity increases, and then things kind of settle down, and then fast velocity increases. But anyways, that's about it. Um, the next time we will um, actually start to fill out the form, I think, in the component. I think that would be the next thing. Anyways, happy coding. See y'all later. Bye.